Guys, deluded YouTube's Lucas Torreira, your favourite YouTuber. I'm back. Thank you very much for having me. I can't lie, it's very hot today. It's a nice summer's day, or we're fast approaching the end of summer. I mean, I really hope Carnival on Sunday and Monday is like this. But back onto business. Josh Dasilva has departed the club, joining Brentford on a 4-year deal. He's joined the Championship club on a 4-year deal, like I just said, with the option of a fifth for another year, so 5 years possibly. And at 19, turning 20 in October, it's a good move. It's a good move for him. From an Arsenal fan's perspective, I wouldn't say I'm gutted, because we've been here now. We've seen many youngsters leave. I've accepted that this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen next summer. If this club ever lets Saka leave, I'm going to get vexed. But it's going to happen, innit? But it is upsetting. From the player's point of view, I get it. I can't be upset. I'm happy for him. He's joined a great club in Brentford. Very forward-thinking in that they scrapped their academy in a sort of way. And then they got a little reserve side. Team players that are, whether it's from Premier League clubs that don't get a chance, or players that they have, that their own players that they've brought in with potential to go into the first team. They're on a little group thing. He's obviously going into the first team. Brentford are a very forward-thinking club. They give young players chances. I don't follow Brentford religiously, but whenever they seem to sell a player, they get a just like-for-like or better replacement. So he's joining a good club. He's joining a very good club. There's two Arsenal exiles there. Two Arsenal players, better yet, there. In Nico Yanaris, those of you remember, the right-back / central midfielder that made his debut at Arsenal, and he's gone off to have a decent career. And some of you might remember Bentley, the keeper. There's someone else, but remember the keeper. I actually have a video about him. He's actually carved out a decent career for himself since not getting a scholarship, I believe, at Arsenal. But there's former Arsenal players there. I'm not sure where in London he's specifically from, but I mean, that's west. This is north, or Hearts, or wherever where the training ground is. It shouldn't be that far for him. It's a good move because he's going to play Championship football. Obviously, at the age he's getting, there's no way around it. You need to play professional football, and when I mean professional, I mean top level, men's game, senior game, professional game, week in, week out. Because now he's gonna, like I said, he's got a great ability. Like, I love Josh Dasilva. Keep calling Jay, I'm thinking of Chelsea lad. I love him a lot, man. I believe he's a bit too, he's very humble, and he's a bit too humble for someone of his ability. I do think he could display his bravado a bit, because he does it in patches. He does little flip-flaps, little turns. He can, Brentford better let him take free kicks, because I'm so here for this. I really want him to do well. If he takes a free kick, he's licking that in. He's got a good left foot. He can play a bunch of midfield positions. He's previously played up front in his younger days. You can't rule out, actually, I wouldn't play him there, but fullback could be something for him. So he's an adaptable player. Now is the time for him to define himself and decide what sort of midfielder he is, what sort of player he wants to be, which he clearly does, because he's brave. We offered him a new deal, so we're going to get a compensation fee because he rejected it. But he could have easily just stayed at Arsenal and waited. But he wants to be brave and get a chance for himself. Obviously, he saw his friend McGain go to Barcelona. He's seen Mavididi go to Juventus. Whether they make it first team, there's another story. But he's also seen other players go and have success elsewhere. There's been players that are having to be a bit patient, like Chris Willock, but you can see why, innit? He would make the move. And if I just look at his situation at Arsenal, you've got Matteo Guendouzi, however you want to pronounce his name. You've got him in front immediately. Then you've probably got Joe Willock ahead of him in the pecking order on the basis that he went on tour. So if I'm Josh, I'm going to be honest here. I believe I'm better than Joe Willock, or I believe I'm levels. And new managers come in. Wenger rated him fairly highly and always praised him and put him on the bench for a couple of games, and that, especially the Carling Cup. I mean, he was on the bench against Sheffield United in our defeat a couple of years ago. He got a couple of minutes against Norwich, I believe, and he's been on the bench. But new manager, you ain't really got time to see if he rates you or not. You've seen Emil Smith get chances in midfield. You've seen Joe Willock. You've seen Jeffrey Adelaide depart the club, who I believe is probably better than you, or more ahead of you at this time. So you can't fault a man for leaving. He was here initially in pre-season. His contract's expired, so our hands are tied. But I fully support the move. If the pathway looks blocked, or you don't believe you're going to get chances, especially when you're turning 20 this year, next year you'll be 21, he ain't got time for that. Am I suggesting he's immediately going to walk into Brentford's first team? I hope so, because I want Josh to go as far as he can. I want to see him in the Premier League. Like, I love young players going out there and claiming their destiny, and he is an Arsenal player. It takes bravery to leave a club that you've been at from 11 plus years. He could have easily stayed and coasted, but he kept it moving. I mean, you now look at Zalala and probably Ben Shafe to a degree, and probably think, what are they thinking about their careers? Because if I'm Shafe, I believe he's got ability to have a decent career of himself. But is he going to get the chance here? It remains to be seen, hopefully, but it remains to be seen. So he probably needs to look at departing the club. Zelalem made his debut in 2014, was going on tour in 2013 and 2018, at 21, turning 22 in January, nowhere to be seen. And on top of that, he's getting the number 14 shirt as well for Brentford, so it's good. Like I said, man, he's been one of the standout players at youth level for us. I mean, not necessarily scoring 10 goals and assisting, but just technical level. He's shown bravery to make the move, and I mean, he's joined a decent squad with a couple of young players there. You've got Koza, who's recently joined from Charlton. You've got Rico Henry, who I rate highly, but he's been injured a couple of years. He was previously at Walsall. You've got a couple young players there, so there's an ethos at Brentford which clearly he buys into. No disrespect to Brentford, but he must have had offers from other clubs, and I'm sure he could have picked a worse choice than this. Brentford's a good club to sign for. Ultimately, now it's just about, he's got the number 14. It's now about getting on the team sheet. It's now about making sure in training you're applying yourself, not saying he wasn't, but applying yourself every day to the point where you can't be ignored, because I don't think he thinks this, but he's coming from an academy environment where results are important, but they're not important in that sense. It could literally be the end of the world if Brentford lose games, because people are fighting relegations, people are trying to get promoted, people got mortgages, people got all sorts of things. There's players that are going to be middle-aged in that group that are going to look at him and think, this young guy is not going to take my spot. So it's going to be healthy competition. He's going to have to prove it to the manager. He's going to have to add consistency into his game at a high level. I think he's a very consistent performer, but until I see a man play an extended period of time in the professional game, I can't really see that. I always give you guys the example of 10 games. He needs to perform to the point where his manager knows, all right, 5 or 10 games, you're going to give me a certain level of performance, because that's how you start games and play games. No doubt he has higher ambitions as well. No disrespect again to Brentford, to play in the Prem, or he might want to play in a top league in Europe, or obviously he wants to get called up. I'd like to assume he wants to get called up for our England's national team. All the dreams us young players who didn't make it and players that have made it want. I mean, he's played at England's under 19 level and under 20s, winning a couple competitions at that. He's technically amazing, in my opinion. He's still young, so I hope he hits the ground running, but he might have games where he's quality and games where he's underwhelming. I really want him to do well, and Brentford look after my guy. It's a shame he didn't sign for the club, sign again. He was involved in pre-season. As the weeks went on, he somewhat disappeared and appeared to be doing training via his Instagram with a personal trainer. There was rumours he was going to Birmingham initially on loan, then it was like a permanent contract, but for whatever reason, Birmingham's lost is Brentford's gain, and because of Brentford's model, you could probably see them selling him for a decent fee, but go and smash it, man. Go and smash it, bro. I want you to do the best you possibly can and more, man. I really want you to do well, man. I really like to see you guys know I love young players. I like to see young players do well. I like to see young players be brave, because like I said, he's been at Arsenal for 11 years. He could have stayed here and thought, I train, I'll play decent for the under-23s, hope to get a chance in the Europa, Carling, possibly FA Cup next year or whenever it starts officially for us. But he took bravery. He's going and getting the number 14 shirt. So for me, if I was him, I'd be gassed. I'd be very gassed. But it's now time to show it in, and I'm just nice to see that he's put an end to his speculation over his future, and that he's able to find a club, get going now, and start his new, I don't want to say start his new career, because he's still a professional footballer, but start his career in the Championship, where regardless of your age, you're judged accordingly as a first team player. I don't know what Brentford fans are on, but I know if players don't perform, people definitely will tell you. So he's going to have to deal with that. I don't know how big Brentford are on social media with all their fans and stuff, but he's probably going to read some comments if he hasn't already. So it's another chapter of his life that he's going to have to deal with. And I hope he does it all the way, man. It remains to be seen what sort of central midfielder he becomes, if he actually remains there, because I don't think he'll play fullback. For me, his position is not fullback, but I'd be lying if I said he didn't look. I couldn't see it at some point there. So yeah, man, it's a shame to lose him. I mean, yeah, man, it's a shame because we lost him, Benassia, Marlon, Willock, Gnabry, Crowley, regardless of, etc. Rene Adley, Virginia, Yacine Fortuné, Dragomir. There's many names I've just named in it. Whether you believe they had a genuine chance at the first team or not, for me, I've told you guys I look at it two ways. I do believe Benassia as well. Could have definitely played first team for us. Couple can go into the first team. Let's not be naive and listen to Wenger in the sense that he said 8, because I don't think Father Wenger's wrong. But in this climate, especially for Arsenal, it's not feasible to expect us to throw in 8 kids. But if 2 or 3 or even 1 make it, we've saved a lot of money, and the rest can make profit for the club. So from an Arsenal brand's perspective, it does annoy me, because I give you guys the example. If this was Chelsea, somehow he would have signed a new deal, or if he didn't, he would have been sold to Brentford and they would have had a nice little sell-on fee or a buyback clause. It's these sort of things where we're lacking between giving contracts to senior players that are underwhelming and we can't get them off the books, youngsters leaving for pennies, just a lot of poor stuff that doesn't make sense when you consider this club really wants to be self-sustaining and all of these things. But it is what it is at this point. And if I haven't mentioned already, he's got the number 14 shirt, so I'm sure he tried to be like Henry, like all of us in the playground. So he has my blessing, man. I hope he does his thing. From an Arsenal fans perspective, like I said, it's upsetting for me, but I hope he does. From a non-biased perspective, I hope he does as well as he can. I hope he, yeah, man, I want to see him playing week in, week out. I want to see him get PFA Championship Team of the Year. I want to see him get promoted. I want to see him possibly get bought by a big club. I ultimately want to see him prove Arsenal wrong, that they should have given him a chance and it shouldn't have led to this point. And it is concerning that Josh and Vlad, 2 standout players at under 23 level, why are you now offering them contracts the month their deal is going to expire? Again, I don't know the ins and outs, and I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a transfer man like that. I don't know if the club has been in constant negotiations with him, but the same thing happened with Willock. I even have a video. Don't you remember, guys? I said something in the caption like, oh, are we just going to pretend like Chris Willock, his contract's not running out? So these patterns are developing at the club, and it's nothing new, but I'm waffling at this point. Guys, Josh, good luck at Brentford. Guys, deluded. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.